Hi everyone. I just got a message on Facebook linking me to a video that I want to do a quick response to. Well, quickish. You know what you know how it always turns out when I say I have a quick video to make. Well, anyway, it's a video from Once Forgiven Now Free, and well, it's every video about free will ever.
That's right. They think Christians are closed-minded, and they want to refer to themselves as free thinkers. And they're the ones who believe that their thoughts are 100% controlled by the laws of nature. Yet they're free thinkers. Try and figure that one out.
Where's the conflict here? Free thinking simply means that my thinking is not controlled by dogma or by some other agent. I'm thinking for myself. That's what free thinking means.
So I was thinking the other day, how much evidence would it take to convince an atheist?
Of what? It depends entirely on the claim and the quality of the evidence.
See, according to atheists, we don't have a soul. We don't have an immaterial self that can transcend the natural world and act out of free will.
Atheism is not materialism. A lot of atheists, like myself, are materialists, but one does not require the other. You're getting your terms confused here. And define free will, would you?
In an atheistic worldview, everything's made of matter, and therefore, everything is governed by natural law.
Well, that's really just a figure of speech. Natural laws are actually descriptive.
Natural law. And so human beings aren't free agents. We're actually just complicated biological robots.
How is a complicated biological robot that isn't being controlled by another agent not a free agent?
But there can be no free will, nothing that transcends the natural world.
What's free will, and why would it transcend the natural world? And is there anything beyond the natural world? I'm not aware of anything that isn't natural. Can you demonstrate that there's something more?
And if you think about it, it's really not that surprising that many scientists will come to the same conclusion, because a lot of them start with the assumption that everything's made of matter and everything must be explained by natural law.
Yes, scientists use science. You're absolutely right, and that's the only thing you get right in this entire video.
So if you try to find free will, you'll come to the conclusion that it has no material basis.
When was this established? And what is free will?
And so they'll say, well, therefore it doesn't exist.
No, they will say what I'm saying. What is free will? You can't meaningfully ask if something exists without first defining it. I mean, how can I look for something when I don't know what I'm looking for?
If we want to find something that transcends the natural world, that can act out of free will and that isn't controlled by natural physical law, you can't use an entity such as science that studies the natural world to determine whether or not it exists.
How else would we determine whether it exists?
I was reading an article online in Psychology Today. It was written by, some PhD, and I just couldn't help but just shake my head at how stupid it was.
Yeah, doctors talking about their fields of expertise. Pfft, what do they know?
He concludes that, as a matter of fact, that free will doesn't exist. And then here's a quote from the article. If free will is an illusion, what are the implications?
What is free will?
Think about that. Free will is an illusion. So how should we behave differently? How should we change? Well, how can you talk about how we should live if we have no free will?
What is free will?
If we have no free will, you can't use the word should. We should do this, we should do that. No, we have no choice.
Why would it be impossible to make a choice without free will? Why can't you just analyze the options available, the situation in general, and factor in your personal preferences, priorities, your personality, and so on, and just pick the option that you feel is the best one? Why would that require free will? A computer can make choices in that sense. I mean, how are we any different? The only difference really is that a computer is coded in one way and we're coded in another, and we might not even think of it as being coded, but we're talking about biological algorithms and not, binary code in a computer. But the principle is the same. We're picking the best option based on a bunch of criteria. Why do you say we have free will, but computers don't? Or maybe you think computers do have free will, I don't know. Because you haven't explained what free will even is.
If there's no free will, how can he be sure about anything?
How is free will a prerequisite for knowledge? And again, what is free will?
The reason he believes what he believes is just an accident of nature. It's just the way the molecule, it's just the way the chemical soup in his head happened to line up.
So, if there's something supernatural controlling his thoughts, wouldn't that be controlling his thoughts? I don't get it.
Well, if there's no free will, you didn't freely come to that conclusion.
What the hell does that mean? How could you ever come to a conclusion freely? When you come to a conclusion, it's because the logic leads you to it.
But anyway, the point I wanted to make is to kind of try and figure out how much evidence would it take to convince an atheist that God exists, or of anything. And I think free will gives us a good idea. See, atheists will deny free will.
I still don't know what you mean by free will.
Alright, we experience free will every single day of our lives.
Then why is it so hard to define it?
And yet, when you point this out to atheists, a lot of them will say, no, it doesn't exist.
What doesn't exist?
And when you point out, well, yeah, of course, we have free will. We make choices every day.
Yes, I make choices based on the situation, the options available, my personal preferences, my priorities, my past experience. We all do.
Then they'll just say, oh, it's an illusion. But of course, how can you argue with someone like that? If you think that your perception of reality is an illusion, then doesn't that mean that your beliefs about reality are also an illusion?
Wait. Let me walk through the logic here. If something that you can't define is an illusion, then my entire perception of reality is? Yeah, that's a complete non sequitur.
I mean, where does this end? You have to realize that this belief undermines knowledge.
What belief? And how?
That's why atheism is just a logically inconsistent worldview.
Atheism isn't a worldview, it's a lack of belief in gods, that's it.
It doesn't stand up to it. It can't even stand up by itself. It's on sinking sand. It has no foundation for a list of things, including morality and ethics and free will and knowledge and science itself.
It's not supposed to!
And so what it comes down to is you can provide an atheist with any evidence you want, but at the end of the day, if they don't want to believe, they will deny it.
So before you even attempt to provide evidence, you're just going to say it wouldn't matter anyway, so you just won't present it even. Well, that's awfully convenient, and it sounds kind of like you're crying, picking up the ball, and going home. So yeah, well, I suggest you do that. Bye.